Hello everyone, I am Prasad from Structural Guide. Today we are going to discuss about factors affecting the strength of the concrete. As you know, the concrete is a very important element in the construction. So, strength of the concrete, therefore, it is very important to us. Therefore, let's discuss one of the most important things connected with the strength of the concrete. There are many factors. Out of those, we have selected today to discuss few important factors. As you know, the concrete is formed or concrete is developed or generated by the mixture of the several materials. One of the common material or one of the most important material in the concrete is the cement. Then other materials also very important, but cement is the one which help us to develop this strength. Combination of the cement and water or the reaction between cement and water generate the concrete. So in this process, the aggregate or sand and the coarse aggregate act as the filler material, and they develop the bond between cement and water reaction. Then we have other concrete. So therefore, cement is very important. One of the most important thing is the cement content. So when you have a cement content to discuss, the higher the cement content, we have a higher the strength, because as I explained previously also, when you have a higher reaction or lot of reactions in the concrete, it develop more strength. Lesser the cement content, lesser the strength. Right. Next, let's discuss about the water cement ratio. What is the water cement ratio? That is ratio between water and cement. So usually this ratio is very important, because when we specify in the concrete, we discuss about this water cement ratio. The technical terms behind this is very interesting. Now let's see what is this water cement ratio and how we specify this. So as you can see here, the top we have a water. So water content, is the one which used to react with the cement. So when you have a cement, as I previously explained, if you have higher cement content, then your strength is high. So here, let's say we have a cement, so you have a higher cement content. Let's assume the water content is same. So if you increase this cement content here, when your water content is same, your water cement ratio will be reduced. Okay, this will be reduced. The water cement ratio will be reduced. Then when you increase cement content. So therefore, you have to keep in mind that when the strength of the concrete high, generally the water cement ratio is less. So this is quite clear. If you can see these kind of charts, just let's say one chart. We consider one chart. Here you have water cement ratio. Here you have compressive strength. So you can see. Let's consider this 0.6 water cement ratio. Then your strength will be nearly equal to 20. So when you consider 0.5, it's more than 20, like 26 newtons per millimeter square. So as you can see, when you reduce the water cement ratio, your strength increases. That's what you have to keep in mind when you deal with the concrete. So lesser the water cement ratio, higher the strength. That's the general norm. Then another important factor we are going to discuss is the compaction of the concrete. As you know, if anything is compacted, its volume or density increases. So density is connected with the compaction and also strength. So what do you mean by compaction? Compaction means, now when you mix the concrete and go into the certain element, then concrete will be settled. But the settlement, in a way, it will be as it is. But if you vibrate it or if you compact it, this material or the concrete will be rearranged. The fresh concrete will be rearranged. Then the unnecessary air in the concrete will go up, and this structure will be created within the concrete. So with that, the concrete strength will be increased. As you can see this figure indicates the fully compacted concrete here. So here you have a water cement ratio increase. Here you have a compressive strength. As you can see here, you can see the hand mixing concrete, right? When you mix with the hand, it has a smaller concrete smaller strength. When you mix with the white bed, it has a higher strength. So let's consider certain word cement ratio like this. Say you have considered certain word cement ratio there. So if you can go this way, you can get that particular strength. So for certain word cement ratio, the strength difference between vibration and hand compacted concrete is not the same. You can see there is a considerable difference. Therefore, you have to keep in mind to compact the concrete properly. If you don't do the compaction properly, there will be a considerable impact on the strength. In addition to that, I just mentioned here, the durability of the concrete also affected by the compaction, permeability also affected by the compaction. Therefore, you have to keep in mind not only for the strength, for requirement of the other factors, basically the service life of the structure when we discuss. The compaction is affected to those factors as well. Therefore, you have to do the concrete compaction very well. Next, I am going to discuss about the curing of the concrete. Do we need to do the cure concrete? Yes. If you want to learn more about the curing of the concrete, I'm suggesting you to watch some more videos in this channel to learn more the curing, because several videos on curing related matters. So I'm not going to discuss in detail about the curing of the concrete, but as a factor affecting to the strength of the concrete, it is very important to have a certain knowledge on the curing of the concrete. So let's discuss that here. So as you can see here, this chart here, it represents the depth, and this axis represents the strength. I want to draw your attention to these two figures. You can see here, in air after 7 days of moisture cure. The second one is in air after 28 days of moisture cure. The first one is 7 days moisture cure. If you do the moisture curing for 7 days, your strength variation will be like this, right? Then if you do the 28 days moisture curing, your strength development will be like this. If you continue to do it, then the chart will be goes like this. Now let's consider certain word age. Let's say this one, given age, you see there is a considerable difference. So if you do 7-day curing, you have this much of strength, and if you do 28 days curing, you have this much of strength. So there is a considerable difference. Therefore, curing is very important, and also it affects to the strength of the concrete. Therefore, we have to keep in mind doing the curing properly when you pour the concrete. So there are other factors that required to consider when you're doing the curing, and also curing is affected to the durability of the structures and many other things. Therefore, in addition to the strength development, you have to make sure that you have to consider the other important factors as well. Therefore, make sure to do the curing properly. Right. As you can see here, as we discussed now, it's clear to you the strength development is affected by the curing. The next item, the last item I want to highlight from this chart is the time. As you can see here, with the time, the strength is vary. So here, when you do the curing, when you finish the curing, there's no certain significant variation. But when you come to here, you can see there are different values. When you come here, you don't have considerable difference, because early stage strength development is very sharp. Thereafter, with the time, strength development will occur depending the curing or without curing of the concrete. Therefore, you have to keep in mind there is a considerable impact by the date or the age of the concrete for the strength development. In addition to this, I want to mention here about the additives of the concrete. Now, when it consider the normal concrete, the strength development will be not the same as when the concrete with additives. Sometimes when you add additives like fly ash, strength gain rate will be reduced. Then such a cases, we will get the strength, but not at the 28 days, but at the later date. For such a situations, when you do the mix design, we specify to check the concrete of the strength 28 days and 56 days. When it's reached by 56 days, it's okay, but you have to consider the particular specification and all that, and also particular structure that is specified by the design. If it is if the strength is reached by 56 days is adequate, then you can proceed with that. So depending on the requirement and the structural condition, that can be also be handled. So it's not mandatory, or it's not always required to have the strength developed by 28 days. That is specified strength developed by 28 days. So that is there, so you have to keep in mind. So you might need to study more on that before using that, what I say, that is 20 days strength and 56 days. So you have to study more on those to learn that. So I'm not going to discuss in detail about that, where we are going to use and all that, but please make sure study and learn before using that. The final factor that affect to the strength I'm going to discuss today is the air entrainment. As you know, as we discussed previously as well, air entrainment means having air in the concrete. We have a certain method of air entraining the concrete. We intentionally entrain the air. Also, in addition to that, there may be air entrained in the concrete during the mixing process as well. I'm not going to discuss all those factors, but we are going to discuss here is the impact of the air entrainment in the concrete on the durability, on the strength of the concrete. You can see this chart here. This figure indicate the non-entrained air concrete. This one indicate the air entrained concrete. So here the water cement ratio is there. Then in this axis you have the compressive strength. It's very clear if you take certain water cement ratio here, and if you can check the strength of the concrete in both cases, it's not the same. So you have a different strengths of the concrete. So non-air entrained concrete and air entrained concrete for the same water cement ratio have a different strength. Therefore, it's very clear entraining air in the concrete have an impact on the strength of the concrete. So there, that you have to keep in mind. So in addition to these factors, I want to mention there are some more factors that affect to the strength of the concrete. Those I suggest you to study more and more. In this discussion, I'm not going to discuss all those. These are the main factors, some of the important factors that we should know when you discuss about the strength of the concrete. Right. With that, I'm going to end today's discussion. Let's meet again from the video. Thank you very much for watching our videos.